Yo, 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 new day, new deal. I very recently stubbed my toe just before dinner, and I forgot about that immediately and spent the last like hour wondering why my singular toe hurt so badly whenever I moved it around, and I only just remembered, so I wanted to share that with everybody. Just in case you think your short-term memory is bad, no, it is. It is nothing. What I can remember, however, is a couple days ago, I booted up a little thing called Monster Hunter Wilds. Specifically the demo. The demo has been pretty fire so far. It is now closed down. There was only like 3 days from Friday 4 a.m. to like Monday 4 a.m. Is that 4 days? No, that's 3 days total. So, not a lot of time, also considering the fact that I had to work a whole ass day out of that whole time. So that's a thing. But we basically only played for Friday. I played through Friday because we essentially got through the entire game, the entire demo during that time. Because again, it's a demo, it's not that long, and it's not really that. I would rather just wait until the full game releases instead of playing it now when it's not optimized whatsoever. The game right now, at least for PC, I've heard for PlayStation ports, and I think both PlayStation and Xbox got access to it like a bit earlier. They just needed to test the server, so they tested it separately. But that actually looks alright, like graphics wise and basically run wise, the game in general. Whereas with PC, it really doesn't. I thought that my computer was just absolutely atrocious, but I've seen some even more atrocious graphics out there. Not that that means my computer is any good whatsoever. I don't know, I've seen a bunch of, I've talked to people, and realized that yeah, I desperately need to upgrade my PC because I haven't touched it specs wise in fucking 8 years. But I mean, all things considered, it's running pretty smoothly. Like it runs everything pretty smoothly. But I would just like it to run even smoother. But the thing is, I don't know how expensive the whole Japan trip is actually gonna be. So that's a whole thing. We have some sort of we have a form of we have a goal to reach, but it's not. If I keep my current flow of coins going through, you can actually get yeah, I can actually make it, but just fucking barely. That's why I'm saving. Other than that, I'm saving every penny I can, and by that I mean not really, but I'm trying, right? I am just a boy. So yeah, in general, I think I'm just gonna wait until Black Friday rolls around, and then I'm gonna buy a new graphics card. I have a GTX 1080, pretty sure. Fucking Nvidia, because of course it's Nvidia. But I realized, or a little devil has whispered in my ear, being my brother, that you really don't need an Nvidia, and they're just kind of they're a little bit overpriced in terms of what you're actually getting out of it. So he has found another one that he is he's been using that since like I think last summer, he said, which is over almost 1.5 years. He's used a Radeon, I'm pretty sure they're called. Not an Nvidia, which is a huge plus because they're way cheaper. you know, of course it's a graphics card, so it's still a teeny tiny bit expensive. But I don't know, I'm just debating whether to buy it now or buy it after we get home from our fucking month and a half long vacation. So I don't really have to worry about, you know, overspending when I'm there, because that would just suck a little too hard. Of course I could also, you know, when I get the new graphics card, if I get the new graphics card here during Black Friday, I could always just, you know, resell my old one, because it's not like it's that bad. It's just, I would just like something better, you know? I'm a spoiled little brat in that way. But a thing I also need is a new CPU, because this one is not running all too well. It is, you know, screaming for help. But that is also, it's a way older one. Oh my god, goddamn, I gotta fetch my the cord for my controller. It sucks pretty bad because my phone charger is now also my controller charger. Because my old phone charger kind of just shit the bed, and by shit the bed I mean it kind of works, but it takes like 8 something hours, sometimes 9 hours to actually fully charge it. So even when it charges overnight, it's not enough, which fucking sucks. And it is, it is 100% a charger issue. I've tested it with one of my roommate's chargers, and it works just fine, just how it used to. So that's a fun thing. But yeah, I need a new CPU. But in order to do that, I need a new motherboard too, because it's, you know, some compatibility shrink along. But in general, I just need to upgrade. I also feel like I need to upgrade my RAM at some point, but that's a lower priority than the rest. I don't know. I don't know. Would be nice to actually do some work on my own PC now that I've, you know, just to know in general, like, what to do when I have something on hand, and like what to, I don't know. I'm not a tech guy, not a computer tech guy anyways. But enough about that boring shit. Let's talk about some Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is pretty goated. There are a lot of new mechanics that I really like about the wilds. You know, not in terms of the graphics. The graphics are basically the least of my concern, because it's not like they're done for the game, right? But just mechanics overall, I don't know. I haven't played much with weapons that I actually know. Hammer a little bit, and then I played a lot of it also with the Charge Blade, which I've never actually tried before. I had to get a little, you know, a little helping hand in terms of actually figuring out what the hell to do. But it's basically about, you know, maxing out your a little gauge you have, just like kind of like the longsword. Is it longsword or is it great sword? Longsword, yeah. But essentially, you just have to fill up a gauge that is, you know, fill up some vials, and then you charge it onto your shield. It's basically a sword and shield that can turn into some sort of hammer. But there's like a lot of mechanics to it, and it does a lot of cooler shit. But it's a cool fucking thing if you can actually use it well. I haven't gotten the combos down yet. And I'm expecting to have a little, you know, use a little time in either World or Rise. Probably Rise, because it's just easier. Just to get some mechanics down. You know, basic mechanics. I know the mechanics might have changed. I'm actually not too sure about that. Because again, I haven't really played with Charge Blade before, so I don't know if the mechanics translate. I can try, I guess. But I think the safest bet would be to test it out on the Worlds if I'm more curious about this. I could have, of course, also just raw dog it when the Wilds eventually comes out. That is also an option. That is very much an option. But a big thing this game had was I don't know if I ever got a name for them. Are they called, like, the sacred? I don't know. The birds, the little thing you ride on. They are so fucking goated. I can't do them justice. They are just peak perfection. They're well, peak perfection when you actually, you know, realize how they work. It's basically just a rideable mount, just like your dog in Rise. But it knows its way around, and you can just set a waypoint, and it just walks by itself or runs by itself. And you don't have to touch anything, and it's really goated. And just with one press of the button, you're in control again. If it decides to somehow go the wrong way, or you just, I don't know, all sorts of things. A little trouble we had at the start was we didn't really know, like, why it sometimes followed the waypoint, and why it, you know, at some point it just changed the weapon just because it felt like it. But that was because all the direction buttons, you know, on the controller, all the direction buttons, they were that was a clean W, by the way. All the direction buttons were to summon this fucked up looking dog. And the fucked up looking dog came, sure, but you know, it also has secondary effects depending on which button you pressed, and we didn't know that because we were too busy with the monsters themselves. The monsters themselves, not too overwhelming, not too special. I assume they're gonna be the fodder that just gets made fun of by other monsters. You know, kind of like Puke in Worlds, for example. It's I don't know. I'm not expecting much from them, but there is one. I keep forgetting its name, like Rudar or something like that. That's pretty. He's pretty goated. I didn't get too great graphics from him, but he's basically. It feels like he's this game's Rathalos, which is pretty awesome. He's just a flying wyvern, and that shoots electricity around, and he actually does a pretty decent amount of damage. He can one-shot you if you're not fully aware of what's going on. That's another thing, actually. They've added some sort of, like, you know, natural survival instinct mechanic that is just, I don't know, it just makes the game kind of easier, but it makes sense, right? So you have your health bar, and it kind of just flashes red, like, vibrates red somehow if you are in danger of if you're in danger of being hit by a heavy attack. It kind of just flashes red. Not really flashes red, but just waves red, I suppose. It's pretty great. It sounds pretty ass when I explain it like that, because it just makes the game, like, that much easier. But I like the aspect of it. Like, it's kind of subtle. It's just, like, up in one corner, and it just, you know, it's moving around all the time anyway. So you have to actually pay attention, and just, you know, if something is actually going crazy wild up there, you know you are fucked and need to get out of the way. But you still have to pay attention to which way you need to get out of the way, and, like, why and how and what. You know, all sorts of things. It's basically just a danger sense. So you can sense you are in danger, but you don't know how you're in danger. Is basically how I should have phrased it. And that is an actual great mechanic. It's, also just ramps up the, not really excitement, just intensity of the gameplay. It's great. It's awesome. I value it very highly. It's, a bunch of small changes, but a bunch of small changes that are really needed. Another one of those small changes is the like little portable grill that you have with you. Beforehand you used to only like you could cook some meat on the go or something. I barely used it whatsoever. But this time around, you can actually use it to just like cook a full ass meal. Just when you're out and about, you can just cook a full ass meal right then and there if you have the materials for it. Which is great. Also, it kind of forced you to learn that mechanic when, here in the demo especially, when there was no real, hub. Yeah, there was a hub, but it was all closed down because they were, quote unquote getting ready. Which was a pretty nice excuse. I like that they don't just, oh, this isn't available yet, but they actually have some sort of excuse. Is that they just arrived to this place and haven't finished setting it up. It might actually be the case that this was just the demo version of it, and in the actual game, it's gonna be built from like day one. Could also be that we don't have like it's some sort of main quest that unlocks that you. I don't know. I'm very intrigued about the main quest because there weren't actually any main quests in this game. There were just there are these monsters that you can hunt if you want. There were 4 of them in total. One of them being this wyvern that I talked about. He's pretty goated. One of them essentially just being a fat puke. At least that's how he looks. He's just a frog man, and he's kind of goofy, but I respect him. Then there is the sandworm. He's not a sandworm. He's just a fella. He's just a goofy gobber. They travel in packs, but with this like large monster, he doesn't travel in packs because that's actually also a thing. A lot of these guys, they travel in packs of like, I don't know, 3 or maybe even 4. That's depending on how you, as the player, hunt monsters. Because if you take down the leader of like one of the fellas, some more of the other guys are gonna spawn. That was like one of the first things we did. Me and my boy, me and my roommate, me and my eternal lover. We just eradicated a whole faction of this bear guy. That's the fourth one. We eradicated a whole little family of those, and then we just saw what happened. I don't actually think a lot happened. It was kind of underwhelming, but we hope that that's because it was only the demo. It's not the full game. They're basically just testing out the servers, so I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be different, but I hope so. There's also gonna be like it's a connected world that's gonna be connected through like basically everything. Every map is connected, every area is connected to each other, therefore I'm pretty sure that all the monsters can also, if you press them hard enough, you can make them wander onto like foreign territory. So that would be pretty cool, not gonna lie. Another thing that they did was you can now just make, camps kind of wherever. Not really wherever, but there are certain places around the map where you can just set up camp. It's kind of like in World, where you have like little mini camps on a little cove, but it's more out in the open. Where monsters can just like come and attack and just ruin the entire thing. Which is pretty, it's pretty exciting. I'm pretty sure if they get destroyed, either way, if you have to go you know, pick up the slack, or if you have some sort of NPC that's stationed there. I think it's pretty cool either way, just that they can, like, just the fact that they're gonna be teared down by some fucking monster, because they feel like it's their territory. It's just cool. The whole, like, ecosystem is just pretty goated in that way. But of course we haven't experienced everything. I haven't myself set up a whole camp yet. I've only experienced it, but it is pretty cool. Well, there was another thing. God damn it. There was, I don't know, there was some other thing that I wanted to talk about, but oh yeah, the weapons. Weapons are, you now have essentially 2 weapons with you at all times. Because, you know, when I talked about the fucked up looking dog that you ride on, it's you have a button to make it follow your waypoint, and you have a button to, you know, just summon it. All the buttons are for summoning it pretty much, but you know, you have a button for also swapping weapons, switching weapons. So you essentially have a secondary weapon, which confused the hell out of me for a long time. Because I was just, I don't know, I'm just used to having the same weapon. I'm not used to changing them. I'm not used to the layout of any other weapon. So it's pretty cool that I'm kind of now getting, you know, quote-unquote forced to. I'm not really getting forced to use another weapon, but it's probably just a generally good idea, and it makes it a lot easier to actually do. You know, I can test out a weapon on the fly, essentially, and if I don't like it, I can just switch back to the hammer, because the hammer is goated. So I don't know, I didn't actually use the secondary weapon thing, because I don't know, didn't have the fucking time for it. The demo was only open for 3 days, where I was at work for one of those days and hungover for another half day. So yeah, pretty fun stuff. Uh-oh. God, it's weird actually being able to read these names. I know it's not the actual proper, you know, it's supposed to be in some sort of Chinese, simplified Chinese or something. I just set it to Japanese. It's still pretty fast for our, you know, hyperfixation of having beaten Hollow Knight, speedrunning Hollow Knight. But it's just weird actually being able to read this shit. Pretty goated. I don't know. I Duolingo desperately wants me to keep my streak. I have like 3 days in a row where I haven't kept my streak, and it just like continues my streak anyway. It's kind of goofy, kind of funny. Monster Hunter. I wasn't done. I have heard little birdie, little rumor say that the heavy bowgun is an absolute goated weapon to have as a secondary, because it essentially just it kind of works as a, you know, of course a ranged option also, but also just a minigun that is incredible. That was the thing I wanted to talk about. That opens up scars so that you can use your you can actually make use of your focus sight. The focus sight, it just makes your, I don't know, you do some sort of other version of your attack, I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually fully explored what the focus thing is about. But in general, it's pretty cool. It also just focuses on the guy. No, it actually doesn't focus on the guy. You have a focus mode. I'm very used to having focus mode because I just beat Elden Ring, you know. You can just focus on the enemy. But all of this, you know, sometimes you just get those moments where it's kind of, you get a really awkward angle, or you really have to, you know, you have to see some sort. You have to watch the environment instead. So you go into focus mode instead of just going out of battle mode entirely, and you have some sort of other moveset. I'm pretty sure I didn't get to explore that fully, other than a little bit with the charge blade. God, I hope I die to Collector. I am so tired. It's not even that late. I have a lot of sleep to catch up on. Both on the day of Monster Hunter and the day Saturday to Sunday night, I only slept. Both of those, I only slept like 4 hours, I guess. Which is not enough. I need my beauty sleep. So, But yeah, in general, it is pretty goated. All of the new mechanics are pretty fire. The only thing that I didn't really enjoy was the graphics, but that was also just I don't know, the graphics and the game doesn't run very optimally. But again, that's just me. I'm hoping that's not a me problem, is what I was going to say before I fumbled the bag. I hope it's not just a me problem, because that would mean that I desperately need to upgrade my PC, and I haven't decided whether I want to do that yet. It kind of depends on how cheap everything basically is gonna be on Black Friday. God, can you please do a better job at kicking my ass? I don't want to continue this. Damn. Oh well. Yes, sir! No, you're giving me time. Oh well. It's not like I'm actively gonna fumble just cause, I could. I could, of course, do that. Did I get the other guy? Of course I fucking did. Oh well. What more can I fumble out my ass about Monster Hunter? Not too much. I really want to play the older Monster Hunter games. That's of course coming way later, but I want to play them at some point, because I've heard that they are, at least some of them are really fucking good. And just it's just a way different experience. I don't know. I feel like a typical new player that the old players are gonna hate, because I like all these different quality of life changes, like the fucked up dog just finding its way for you, and having 2 weapons. Just, I don't know, a lot of what I've heard about older players is that they liked back in my day type beat, when they had to scour for every resource and they couldn't just buy it in the shop and whatever, and they had to manually figure out where the hell the monster was, and all sorts of things. But it's more available to newer players the new way, me included, and it's just, I don't know, I see the charm of just taking your time with each monster. I see the charm in it, but it just, I want to say that it's my style too. I want to say that yeah, this is absolutely good, but it's probably not. It's probably not. It's probably kind of ass. Just because you're using too much time just foraging. You only have 1 health. Okay, that you just have to trust me. That wasn't even intentional. I didn't realize I was on 2 HP. Oh well. Convenient enough for me. I'm gonna go. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Goodbye. Later.